Hello, everybody. You're going to join us here today with Sasha and me. We're going to bring you a Lesbian Live call-in show.
And in the meantime, we're going to be looking at some, I'd say, disturbing content.
No, I don't think this one's disturbing. I think it's a regular video, but we will bring it to you while we're waiting for some callers. Let me share the screen instead. Oh, I stopped sharing screens.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, unfortunately.
This really is our dinosaur era.
Oh no, there's no dinosaur era.
We're figuring it out, but still
Figuring it out as we go. Like, have to take off that phone thing. Where are all the butches?
A hot button topic that's been swirling in the media circuit for years is the problem of LGBTQ representation in the arts, and specifically lesbian representation in the arts. Making our mainstream debut in
Oh no, I gotta do this full screen.
1997 in the Puppy episode of Ellen,
I'm gay.
lesbians began popping up on screen. The 2000s saw subsequent works like Imagine Me and You, The L Word, Glee, Saving Face, and more, all featuring lesbian main characters. The number of lesbian characters continued to rise in the 2010s in works like The Fosters, Orange is the New Black, Riverdale, and Pretty Little Liars. While these depictions aided in filling the severe lack of
I remember all those shows. Did you watch them?
Yeah, I watched. Well, some of them I watched. I didn't watch all of them.
lesbian representation,
I watched Pretty Little Liars just for that.
to be left out almost entirely. Butch lesbians. Growing up, I was fortunate enough to see my sexuality represented.
Those are not butch lesbians.
But I felt a disconnect between my butch presentation and what was reflected.
Hello.
Characters like Amy from Faking It,
Have you
Emily
seen?
from Pretty Little Liars, and Santana from Glee.
Shout out to all the butch lesbians.
These are not butch lesbians on the screen.
Yeah, but still, shout out.
This is not a butch lesbian. I'm sorry, Santana is not a butch lesbian. Oh, this is so funny.
Lesbians represented, we were portrayed as harmful stereotypes depicting butches as aggressive, predatory, and overly masculine.
That's us, you know? Always the aggressive, predatory,
Always upsetting. Always an upsetting presence.
Yes.
Very inconvenient.
I'm a lesbian, you idiot.
I believed that in order to see myself on screen, I would have to take matters into my own hands and create my own show. Other butches
Shout out to
also had the
butches.
same idea. Recently, there has been a sharp rise in butch leading ladies in works like 20s, Work in Progress, Field.
Have you seen any of this?
And Take My Wife.
20s is terrible. It's
terrible.
Yeah, it's gender propaganda.
Of course it is. I mean, why are they saying it's butches on this? I don't know. This video is a little bit confusing.
Take My Wife, a sitcom featuring comedians and at the time partners Cameron Esposito.
That might be a butch.
Ran from 2016 to 2018. Esposito and Butcher, who both identify as butch, portrayed a rare dynamic in real life and a never-seen-before dynamic on television, butch for butch.
I never watched that. Did you?
No.
It's interesting. I might watch that.
That's a relatively new show.
The money-hungry industry. Alison Bechdel, a butch cartoonist and writer, inferred that butch for butch relationships aren't represented because without
be
the
represented.
contrast she underscores.
More to watch.
Butch is inherently uncommodifiable, since two butches together is just a step too queer. In the article, The Renegades, in T, the New York Times style magazine. As past butch characters and femme partners, Esposito and Butcher's relationship was groundbreaking and
you ready for a call, V?
20s.
Am I ready for a call?
Yeah.
I'm ready for a call if somebody wants to do the call.
Anyone wants to call in, then call in.
We're gonna, but then I have to switch the screen.
That's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna have to hide the numbers because, you know, don't want our callers not to feel like they've been privacy invaded.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Okay. So call in. I am waiting.
It takes a second.
Right.
To start ringing. Yeah, it takes a second to.
We are waiting and excited to hear you guys. The number's on the screen. Well, I'll put it on the screen.
Oh, it wasn't? Oops.
Yeah. I think it was in the notes. Awesome. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
You're in the Lesbian Live.
Fantastic. Full disclosure, I'm not a lesbian.
As long as it's lesbian focused, it's all good.
Okay. When I was younger in college, I went to a single-sex school. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Sasha, you can hear?
Okay. So, I was very involved with the lesbian community then, and that was the late 70s, early 80s.
Okay, cool.
And when I moved to New York City, I went to the Pride parades every year until it became very disturbing. The S&M fetish gear and
Yeah.
just these nasty men all over the place. So I stopped.
No lesbian wants any of that.
Sorry?
No lesbian wants any around any of that.
Yeah.
Bears and bondage, not my thing.
I see there's a delay.
Oh, I'm sorry. But I do hear you.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm still here. It seems like I'm sort of delayed. Yeah. I am a TERF. I'm a New York TERF.
Awesome.
VF 5555 has very kindly taken me under her wing and introduced me to other rad femmes here in New York City, and that is just fantastic. I have not had a community of really smart women who think the way that I do since college, and it's so exhilarating to be in a group of just women and to be able to say what we want to,
We all need that. The TERFs need that. The lesbians need that. That's what we're all about. I'm so glad I got to do that for you guys.
Yeah. Now I just stickered the recycling room on the floor of my building.
Yeah.
With a ton of TERF stickers because there's a lesbian couple that moved in across the hall.
Oh, you're making them feel welcome.
Yeah. And I took a TERF pamphlet and I put it under their door and they took it. I can see it. So
that's awesome.
Also, I went to take photos and bedazzle the stickers with, little rhinestones and stuff. They had already been all torn down. It's so exhilarating to see.
Okay, well, do you have a question for us?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. What happened to the lesbian community? And I'll tell you, my first hint that things were going awry, to my mind at least, I don't want to be puritanical, was when in maybe 2009, 2010, I read this amazing essay. I was just trying desperately to find it, but I couldn't. By a lesbian who's a geologist or something in Colorado, talking about how sort of what used to be sort of male masculine patterns of S&M behavior and dominance and so forth.
Yeah, they call it mask, but it's much.
Had invaded the lesbian community.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with larger macro forces, but I'd really love to hear the perspectives of you women.
Sasha?
I think things began to go awry with the popularization.
I don't want to be puritanical. Was when in maybe 2009, 2010.
Wait, I'm sorry.
No, I read an amazing essay.
Did we hear it twice?
Yeah, I'm hearing feedback.
Huh? Lesbian who's a geologist or something in Colorado, talking about how sort of
I don't know. We're gonna have to improve this. I'm so sorry.
Masculine patterns of.
I'm gonna hold on. Okay, so I just muted my mic, so I won't hear.
Okay, so your mic.
But for me, I think things began to go awry with the success of the misdirection of the feminist movement by COINTELPRO, and so a lot of the things that women were advocating for, and subsequently lesbians,
I think things began to go awry with the popularization.
Stigmatized because lesbians were building, effectively building communities, effectively building movements, and effectively creating consciousness raising events. And so the misdirection of feminism
I didn't say it
more liberal. And so they sort of took out the teeth of these movements and removed the radical elements. And so lesbianism was looked at as like
I
up for grabs.
haven't done
It
this
was
before.
up for grabs,
No,
and
I
now we
haven't
have
done
all
this
of
ever
these
before,
ideologies that exist solely as a retaliation for advancements made by the feminist movement.
Okay, let's just watch the video. I'm sorry, this clothing show is obviously gone awry.
Well, the noise stopped.
I turned it off like later one, but I'm sure that they didn't get the conversation. I'm sorry. Thank you for calling, but we're gonna have to do a video instead. Sorry. We'll figure this out next time, but there's obviously a big problem with that.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's such a...
So I'm gonna repeat it because Sundyke asked for me to say it again. Basically, with the dismantling and misdirection of the feminist movement, lesbianism as a community came up for grabs. It was like hunting season. It was open season on all of the things that lesbians had built and organized, and we essentially lost all of the elements of the movements that we spearheaded prior. And so everything that exists now as a retaliation to the advancements made by the feminist movement is the reason why our communities have fractured so badly and were essentially destroyed.
Trying to get this other window going. Sorry. Share screen. Find my true cringe and...
Hey everybody, and welcome back to my...
Not that way. Let's go back.
Yeah, the fracturing of the community was one of the biggest elements of being it was the whole divide and conquer thing.
All right, back to taking off this banner. Sorry about that, everybody. We'll go back to where all the bitches are at. That's some ridiculous shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Something's up with my mic.
Was it your mic?
Someone said my volume is low.
Swirling in the media circuit for years is the problem of LGBTQ representation in the arts, and specifically lesbian representation in the arts. Making our mainstream debut in 1997 in the Puppy episode of Ellen, I'm gay. Lesbians began popping up on screen. The 2000s saw subsequent works like Imagine Me and You, The L Word, Glee, Saving Face, and more, all featuring lesbian main characters. The number of lesbian characters continued to rise in the 2010s in works like The Fosters, Orange is the New Black, Riverdale, and Pretty Little.
Do you remember bitches in that?
These depictions aided in filling the
No,
or lesbians.
representation.
Not in Orange is the New Black.
Almost entirely butch lesbians. Growing up, I was fortunate enough to see my sexuality represented in shows like these, but I felt a disconnect between my butch presentation and what was reflected to me on screen.
Yeah, that's not butch.
It, Emily from Pretty Little Liars and Santana from Glee were high femme with their hair curled and a full face of makeup that contrasted my short hair and makeupless face.
I'm trying to put it louder.
I saw butch lesbians represented. We were portrayed as harmful stereotypes depicting butches as aggressive, predatory, and overly masculine.
Now you hear better?
I'm a lesbian, you idiot.
I believed that in order to see myself on screen, I would have to take matters into my own hands and create my own show. Other butches also had the same idea. Recently, there has been a sharp rise in butch-hating ladies in works like 20s, Work in Progress, Feel Good, One Mississippi, and Take My Wife. All these shows remedy problems associated with butch representation. Take My Wife, a sitcom featuring comedians and at the time partners Cameron Esposito and Rhea Butcher, ran from 2016 to 2018. Esposito and Butcher, who both identify as butch, portrayed a rare dynamic in real life and a never-seen-before dynamic on television, butch for butch.
That
This is
happens.
largely due to the money-hungry industry. Alison Bechdel, a butch cartoonist and writer, inferred that butch for butch relationships aren't represented because, without the femme and the contrast she underscores, the butch is inherently uncommodifiable, since two butches together is just a step too queer. In the article,
There's no such thing as too queer. It is lesbian.
Right. I hate that word.
Butch on Butch is not too queer. It's just plain lesbian. I'm sorry, this is some true cringe stuff, but it does represent butches in the media.
The Renegades in T, the New York Times style magazine. As past Butch characters have had femme partners, Esposito and Butcher's relationship was groundbreaking in representing this rare dynamic. 20s, a show created by Butch writer and actor Lena Waithe, features a black Butch woman as the main character. The character of Hattie joins the ranks of a small group of black Butch characters and an even smaller group of contemporary ones. Not only does the opening scene of the pilot subvert tropes of Butches as not sexy with its tasteful direction, but the concept of the show in general subverts all traditional aspects of black Butch representation. 20s is a feel-good show, focusing on the community.
Do you have anything to add to that? Because there's very few black Butch lesbians on TV. I mean, I've never really seen one. I guess there's one that's shown here.
The sad thing about this show is that it falls into the agenda of gender ideology. So it could be a really good show. It could be really pro-lesbian, but unfortunately, they're carrying the flag of the same demographic that ultimately destroyed our communities.
Continue on.
Comedic moments in life, instead of trauma and violence due to being a black lesbian, as seen in movies like Pariah and Rafiki, whose main characters are brutalized for being gay. Work in Progress, a show by self-identified fat queer dyke Allie McInerney, features a version of McInerney played by herself as she goes through a midlife crisis and mental health struggles. The series subverts the Butch stereotype.
This is HBO, so you know it's shitty.
HBO be crazy.
You know, the L word, the new queer word. No, it's trunism.
Stoic, as Allie is sensitive and shy. It also joins the conversation surrounding the Butch identity and its intersection with trans and gender nonconforming identities.
I don't know what's over your volume.
A large part of the pilot, 180 Almonds, focuses on the bullying faced by Allie due to the Saturday Night Live character Pat, where the whole premise of the joke was that you couldn't tell if Pat was a man or a woman.
So
Allie's complicated feelings surrounding the character of Pat reflect a feeling of otherness shared by Butch women, where we are too manly for the girls and too girly for the guys. This is one example of a multidimensional Butch character that accurately portrays the nuances of the Butch identity and the problems associated with it. But all these shows are semi-autobiographical or autobiographical in their entirety. This poses another problem. Why are Butch lesbians limited to autobiographical representations? Are only Butch comedians with a Netflix special allowed to make a show? It can be great as this lens allows our stories to be told truthfully and authentically, but it also limits our reach. While I would love to have all lesbian stories told by lesbians, that just isn't the case.
Lesbians need to tell our stories. I mean, that's really why this channel exists.
That's true. That's the reason for a lot of isolation is that a lot of our representation is
marketed to tune us out. I mean, let's just be real.
Well, not just that, but it's marketed in a way that makes us non-threatening to where we are not challenging systems and institutions that repress our existence.
The case. Most lesbian characters on screen in recent years were on shows created by straight showrunners. If these lesbian stories were able to be told by straight creators, why aren't Butch...
What?
That was right. Most of our characters were created by straight writers who, you know, just trotted out.
They don't have any clue what it's like to be Butch.
Right.
Narratives included. Butch lesbians are already a subcategory of a subcategory in the minority population. If our stories can only be told by us, they will continue.
We're not in that population. I'm sorry. Lesbians have nothing to do with a TQ, and that's just more queer bullshit talk here.
To be a lack of Butch representation. I predict that this trend is largely due to a network and studio executives think is going to sell. Because as they say, money is everything and sex sells. All the aforementioned shows were created by real-life Butch women who were already successful in the industry and therefore came with an existing audience for viewership instead of relying on alluring scenes to bring an audience in. When you have a lesbian story that features a Butch lesbian, it alienates 50% of a potential audience because we can't be marketed as sexy towards straight men. On the other hand, when you have femme lesbian...
And that's a general rule of Hollywood. That's why you don't see a lot of Butch lesbian actors or musicians.
Oh, no.
The criteria for entertainers is men have to want to fuck you. So if they don't...
But men will fuck anything. Men will stick their dicks in anything.
Well, they mean that you have to appeal to, like, not out of desperation, but you have to appeal to the sexy, femme, like, siren type of ideal woman.
Well, that is why they put the lesbian cheerleaders. A lot.
characters that can be marketed towards a straight male audience. This is seen in films like Blue is the Warmest Color and Disobedience, which both feature gratuitous sex scenes directed by men. This phenomenon can also be seen in Orange is the New Black, in the contrast between the sex scenes of Piper and Alex versus Big Boo. Piper and Alex, both femme lesbians, get many sex scenes throughout the series with flattering angles and sexy portrayals. On the other hand,
they're not lesbians either. Even in the show, they're both bisexual.
Right.
Like,
Big Boo,
openly.
the character, rarely gets any sort of romantic scene, and when she does, it's used for comedic effect. The contrast between these two scenes is evident, as the Piper and Alex scene is directed to be sexy, while Big Boo scene is directed to be comical. Although not consciously, representation like this sends the message that butches aren't sexy, and it's laughable when they try to be. However,
we're not trying to be sexy for the mainstream, though. I don't know if that's good or a bad thing. I really don't want butch to be sexy to heterosexual men, like, who are watching.
Even in teenage shows where sex appeal isn't the main concern for their underage characters, butch lesbians are still non-existent. Shows marketed towards teenagers like Everything Sucks, Never Have I Ever, One Day at a Time, Riverdale, and Teenage Bounty Hunters all feature one or more lesbian characters, but no butch-identified characters. This, in part, can be attributed to common coming-of-age storylines for LGBT characters. A large plot point in all the shows listed was the character coming to terms with their sexuality and eventually coming out.
I'm gay.
Do you like me?
I'm gay.
None of these characters knew they were gay until later in the show's run. When a character's entire story rests on their sexuality, it would seem illogical for showrunners to cast a butch woman in these roles for fear of being too obviously gay.
I'm sorry the speaker situation. I have no idea why her speaker's so low.
I might have to come back. Hold on.
Yeah, put yourself... Let's fix this. Sorry.
But even after they come out, all these characters continue to present as femme. While this is common and completely valid, it isn't entirely accurate. In talking with other butches and in my own experience, many butch women present as femme for years due to heteronormativity and compulsory heterosexuality, only later presenting how they want. For example, in the article, The Woman in a Tie, Embracing My Butch Identity, by Point scholar Sarah Bacot, she noted that accepting I was gay had been one struggle, accepting I was butch quite another. Claiming the butch identity can be like a second coming out for many, but it's a nuance not widely known to those outside of the community. A supposedly obvious solution would be to hire more butch women in the industry, but in an already small population and an exclusive occupation, pickings are slim. Instead, straight showrunners need to do more research in writing gay characters. If you want your gay characters to be anything more than a diversity statistic, you need to create three-dimensional gay characters that go beyond the basics of who they're sexually attracted to and capture the nuances of navigating the world as a gay person.
Yeah, we're people. We're just not our coming out story, you know?
How's this for my mic?
Audience, please tell us, is your mic any better? I hear you the same, so.
It's unrealistic, irresponsible, and lazy to depict all lesbian women as feminine on screen because that's the default, when that isn't the case in real life. While there's still a lot of work to do, shows like Work in Progress, Feel Good, and Take My Wife are hopefully the start of a whole new wave of butch.
Sasha, say something.
How about how's this going? How about this?
I think you could sound louder.
I put the volume up to the max, but I can switch between.
Finally. Yeah, keep it there.
So it works?
Yeah, keep it there. All right, better.
Butch leading ladies on screen. The label butch embodies a brazen queerness that expands beyond the confines of stereotypes that society wants to push us into. We deserve tough, combat boot wearing butches, but we also deserve.
I wear combat boots.
Same.
You do it. Good, that's a lot better. Thank you.
Dorky video game playing butches.
Thank you,
We
lady.
deserve short butches, lanky butches, fat butches, black butches, Asian butches, teenage butches, grandma butches, butches who wear skirts,
Grandma
who wear
butches.
cargo shorts, butches
Muscular
who skip pants,
butches!
with long hair.
Flex. Go flex, Sasha. Flex the muscle.
Don't be big.
That's the muscle I need.
We deserve butches.
Hold on, wait.
We deserve butches. Okay, that was
Hello, everybody.
a video. But let's see what else I got to watch on this YouTube.
Hey
Anything.
everybody, and
No, I don't
welcome
want to
back
take
to my
your-
channel.
No, I don't ever want to
Hey
see.
everybody. Hello, everybody.
Yeah.
Welcome to another
Let's-
Tales from the Kiwi Farms. Today we got Dr. Teresa
talking about
Gallagher. Now, as you can see, I skipped a word there.
No, we'll do the history behind Butch's video here.
In Jamaica, we say eponymous. From its emergence among working-class lesbian bar culture to its resurgence in the 1990s,
This volume is horrible on this video.
while its exact origin are known, butch is still an empowered word for many. So how much do you really know about the history of the word butch?
I don't know the history of the word butch. Yeah, we're shit slappers.
English dictionary, butch means a lesbian of masculine appearance or behavior. At the turn of the 20th century, the word butch meant tough kid or referred to a men's haircut. It surfaced as a term used among women who identified as lesbians in the 1940s, but
They didn't use the term identify. That's bullshit.
historians and scholars have struggled to identify exactly how or when it entered the queer lexicon. Before butch became a term used by lesbians, there were other terms in the 1920s that described masculinity among queer women. According to the historian Lillian Fadiman, bulldagger and bulldyke came out of the black lesbian subculture of Harlem, where
That was a thing. Definitely a thing.
Yeah, it was
I-
a thing.
And studs and all that.
there were mama and papa relationships that looked like butch femme partnerships. Performer Gladys Bentley epitomized the style with her men's hat, ties, and jackets. Women in
That's sharp.
at this time didn't yet use the word lesbian to describe themselves. Prison slang introduced the term daddy, husband, and top sergeant into the working class lesbian
I've never heard that one.
I've heard top sergeant. I've never heard the D or the H.
I've been called daddy before, but that's a sexual thing. Which I didn't like, because I'm like, my girlfriend's a little bit older than me, and she's like always calling me daddy in public, and I'm like, come on. It made people look at us like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She did it for reaction's sake, man.
culture of the 1930s. Pants became a distinctive queer style in the 1940s, with hundreds of thousands of women donning utilitarian clothing to work in factories because of the war. And with the migration to the cities,
Finally get to wear pants.
specifically catered to these women can thrive.
And we used to have bars.
Find that butch materialized as an underground term used by working class women as well as gay men to describe masculinity in their own community. But more than masculine lesbian, what is the definition of butch? Writers have questioned what makes a butch woman in particular. Is it her style, what she does in bed, or who she's attracted to? And does she have to identify as a butch to be a butch? Looking back on this,
Has to be a lesbian.
Gail Rubin wrote that butches identify primarily as masculine or prefer masculine signals, personal appearance, and style. This identity thrived in nightlife. Are you butch or femme? Was a question that the Lesbian Her Story Archives founder, Joan Nessel, recalls being asked as soon as she walked into a bar. Everyone was a butch or femme at the time, and if you weren't, you were called a kiki. Butches and femmes faced criticism from middle and upper class lesbians who felt that they replicated heterosexual relationships.
It wasn't about that at all.
Organization, the Daughters of Velitis, formed in 1955 and pressured butches to appear more feminine. The queer people who didn't want to play by middle class rules instead rebelled. In 1969, a handful of butch lesbians participated in the Stonewall riots. Yet
What?
a new generation of young political and college-educated lesbians developed in the years that followed. The rise of feminism on college campuses left out working-class bar dykes, and butches were even considered politically incorrect by lesbian feminists in the 1970s. They were pushed to the margin.
The political lesbians don't like any real lesbians to begin with.
Yeah.
It didn't stay that way for long. Butch and femme made a comeback in the 1980s as sexually empowering.
Definitely made a comeback.
Not just for working class women. There were butch bottoms and femme tops who used the terms for their own pleasure in the ballroom scene. Queer people of color use the term in categories.
No, it's not about queer people in color. Stop this.
I hate that word.
It's like Dexter calling themselves butches too. I mean, like, butch was just a lesbian thing. Now they're trying to turn it out.
Like butch realness or butch queen. Tony Kushner's landmark 1991 play about these years, Angels in America, dubbed Joe Pitt a closeted gay Marlboro man, a mega butch in contrast to the play's femme protagonist. While butches among gay men are often seen as desirable, they were also...
Wait, gay men do not desire butch lesbians.
That's all. She's sneaking that shit in there.
Oh yeah, but throwing these darts.
You see how they do it?
Looks right. You know, she sounds a little bit like she knows some history, but she's queering it up.
You see how they sneak that shit in there? Everybody's a little bisexual ass logic.
I mean, the bi guys did hit on me in the gay clubs a lot, but they're bi.
Representation was Leslie Feinberg's Stone Butch Blues, published in 1990.
That is a queer book. No, that is not what you think. That writer wrote about sucking off troons, okay? That's a bisexual book too.
Between butch and trans. The Stone Butch was the epitome of the butch identity, a lesbian who did not let her partner touch her sexually. Butch lesbians and trans folks alike saw reflections of themselves in Feinberg's work. Butch has been connected to trans identities and...
No. Stop right there. Stone Butch is a thing, it's a sexual thing, and it's kind of like a preference or like avoidance type of thing, depending on the situation, you know? But it is not a trans thing. Shut the fuck up.
Some who identified as butch women went on to identify as trans men or
no. They did that because they fell into the trans trap, but it is not about being butch. It's about being a lesbian. It's not trans. Stop tuning us out.
Trans masculine. That same year, butch visibility got even louder when butch singer Katie Lang was on the cover of Vanity Fair getting her shaved by Cindy.
Yes, did that as a butch. I don't know. Is Katie Lang still a full lesbian?
You know what? I'm not entirely sure.
I heard some rumors that, you know, she might not be. But she doesn't identify as butch herself. She never even called herself butch.
Crawford. Sites to watch out for, the Drag King book and other publications create a culture where there's finally proof of butches.
The Drag King thing was real. Dykes to watch out for is real. But anything trans is not, it's propaganda. Like this video.
Make way for more mainstream butch visibility. Ellen debuted her talk show after coming out in her sitcom less than a decade before. With sneakers and blazers, she was the quintessential soft butch.
Ellen does not own butchness. And she really is just, you know, she's got short hair. But she does not scream butchness. Do you think so?
Well, soft butch, yeah, but like it's on the like just barely.
Yeah, barely, but I don't think she counts herself. I think she herself says it's not her thing. You know? I don't think everyone who wears a tie is butch. I think if you have butch code, you're butch. If you don't know it, then you're not.
The hit Netflix show Orange is the New Black introduced a hard butch in 2013 that
they always use her.
Is perhaps the first of her kind on screen.
But look, she's got her fucking eyebrows done and shit. Come on.
Oh, come on. You know she had to do that. No, it's true. In Miami, though, all the butches in Miami have their fucking eyebrows on fleek. You can't just, you know, you can't. That doesn't change a butch.
Butch tattooed on her arm. As a hilarious and sexual character, she defies stereotypes. With the popularity of online dating, gay men continue to have their own butch and femme dynamics.
Gay men do not have butch and femme. It is not theirs. It is ours. Shut the fuck up.
She just lied. Why did she lie?
Because she gotta like blend everybody, you know, butch and like, what is it they call it? Top and bottom, like the gay boys? Nah, it's not the same. Twinks and no, we are not the same.
Giving mass guys more attention. While butch remains a word that's primarily used among lesbians,
it is for lesbians only. Only lesbians.
Some communities
primarily.
I know.
Primarily.
Is still used more widely by gay men and trans people. But butch has resisted being relinquished to the past. The 25th.
Yeah, I don't want to hear the trans shit. Every other word.
I rebuke it. I rebuke it. I rebuke it.
Do you think this woman is? Do you think this woman is trans, or do you think she's just a regular butch that just likes to get the attention of all the trans?
She's a lesbian that drank the Kool-Aid. That is a lesbian that drank the Kool-Aid, no sugar.
But does she have the beer on? I don't think so.
She drank the Kool-Aid, no sugar, and now she don't have no sense about her.
A mega butch in contrast to the plays.
Wait.
Quintessential.
Please, not Mega Butch. Oh my God.
Yeah. What about
Not-
Mega Butch? Here?
No.
Mask is still used more widely by gay men and trans people.
No, that is not. It doesn't belong to them.
Butch has resisted being relinquished to the past. The 2015 musical Fun Home, based on Alison Bechdel's memoir,
She's paid to read the script. I believe that.
lesbian protagonist. It's also famous for the stern ballad Ring of Keys, where young Allison first recognizes her own identity as she notices a masculine delivering woman and her humongous ring of keys. Reflecting on the memory, Allison calls that woman an old school Butch.
What does that have to do with some keys? I don't understand. That's not part of lesbian culture I've ever heard in my whole life.
The older new school, it looks like Butches are here to stay.
Right. No, seriously.
Butches were here before, and they're not going anywhere. There will always be women who are lesbians and feel a little bit more on the, gender non-conforming side.
Yeah. They paid her. They paid
Hello,
her
everybody.
to produce that psyop.
Yeah, that is ridiculous. You want to watch Carol?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's dive in.
Okay. Here's Carol.
Hello again, everybody. It's been a hot second since I made a video. I've had a lot going on in my personal life, but decided to jump in and make something.
She's trying to get Butches not to transition in this video.
I've been thinking about a lot of things lately and about how do I talk about and gear what I have to say towards butch lesbians in hopes of helping
This is why I'm playing it.
their way. Find their way out of gender dysphoria or whatever they might be, feeling comfortable about or suffering from, or how do I help them find their way the best.
That's why we need like regular lesbian representatives like me and SASHA,
Yeah.
out for them to deal with their gender dysphoria out, whether it's transition or not transition,
Yeah, at least she's not all still in the cult mentality. I at least appreciate that about her.
I personally hate the idea of medicalizing somebody's body because they're uncomfortable with it.
No, transition should never be a thing, because you don't transition to anything.
Ethically, I really have some apprehension about if the medical community is doing stuff appropriately, ethically, or scientifically based.
Nothing about trans is based on anything. Let's be real.
And I don't pull these reasons just out of my ass. I have had years of reading different perspectives and reading research, and my position, I feel, is pretty well.
Yeah, I respect when they get out of the cult.
So
and try to help women not fall into it.
I'm pretty confident in my position, although I'm open to change. Always, I'm open to other information. I try to be, not perfect. That said, I have had a recent realization that for butch lesbians, adult butch lesbians, we really are on our own in making these decisions. We really are. It really is us that has to make the decision of whether transition.
There is no decision. There's no transition. Like, stop that, Carol. Is this like one of her like beginning videos? Because it's still a little bit like you have a choice. I don't know. You can make a mistake if you want, but we should be advising against it, like fully, as turf lesbians. There's no like, well, maybe you should if it's good for you. No, it's always bad. Carol, don't you know better?
Is a good, mentally productive and healthy path for us to take to deal with our gender dysphoria?
The answer is no. There's nothing healthy about pretending to be what you're not.
And the reason that is kind of sad to me is because, you know, you would hope that if a medical treatment is being given out, that
Is this one of her earlier videos? I don't know.
Giving out this medical treatment for a mental health condition would have your best interest at heart and have.
I think it's too transy for me, so I'm going to move on to the next video or something. I might cringe because Sasha totally lost interest.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, I know.
It sounds kind of passive to me.
I was trying to like give her some credit for, you know, trying to help butches out, but still, it sounded so gendery. Like
it sounded almost sympathetic to.
It is sympathetic because she is, you know. I don't mind that part, but the fact that she still excuses it.
There are a lot of people who want to make a lot of women feel like they're not real women.
Okay, this video is about
they're not big enough. They're not big enough here, or they're not small enough there, or they don't do the right kind of work, or they do the wrong kind of work. And so I think, I mean, I've of course fallen prey to that like any other woman in the world.
I do hear a lot of people talk about, or they wonder why butch women are butch women, you know, like.
It's very simple. We're lesbians and we don't want to have to put on no feminine show for anybody.
Right.
It's not really that complicated. It actually takes more for a woman to do all that stuff than not to.
It does, and it destroys us more.
If you're a woman and you're butch, that must mean that you're transgendered or that you're trying.
No, it definitely does not mean that. There's no such thing as trans.
To be a man, as they always
definitely
say.
Not trying to be a man either.
Or like trying and failing. But the way I see it is that being transgendered, that's a different issue because wanting to change your body or wanting to have a male body is kind of a separate issue.
I'm sorry? Sasha, please. All right, is your camera on frozen?
Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you.
Shit.
I think you're a little bit.
How about now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have that part chill real quick.
Okay. Sorry, Sasha.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I do feel like I have to fight for my identity as a woman, because I think people, especially nowadays, they kind of just assume that I'm going.
Yeah, she would always be assumed that she's going to be like someone that needs to be trans, and that's so horrible. I mean, this is obviously a butch woman, and it's disrespectful to be like, you're a man. I hate it when that happens to people.
Going by like male pronouns, or that I want to be known as a man or something like that, which I understand. They're just trying to like be respectful, but
they're not trying to be respectful. They're trying to say that there's no room for women like this, you know?
You know, like I find that I more often have to really hold on to the places and spaces where I am.
You're welcome with us. Come on to my channel.
Perceived as a woman. If that's like I'm at dinner with my girl and a waiter says, "Ma'am," I'll take it. You know, like so I'm like, at least he saw me as a woman. Good.
Yeah.
Grief. You know, like it's hard, but it's hard to go into like a gay club and have everybody calling me like male pronouns.
Is there any gay club left for lesbians? I think they just assume you're a gay man in there. Just because they only care about men. Hello, Sasha.
All right, I'm back.
Please tell us about her story. Like, did you catch any of it?
Some of it, but then it started bugging out, and I was like, "Fuck."
Okay, because this is really good. She's talking about how she no longer, you know, gets treated like she's a woman. You know, look at her. People are just automatically going to tune her out, and there's nothing wrong with her. I mean, and she says it's like about respect because they're trying to show her respect. And I'm like, no, it's not about respect to call you a man. That's like a lower grading.
And you gotta look at the element of misogynoir, where people are always masculinizing Black women. That's not a compliment,
right?
Because you're saying that, oh, well, men are superior, so you should feel honored, and men are the default, so you should be honored. I'm not honored to be referred to as a man.
It's a downgrade, if anything. I'm just like, why would lesbians like think that's respectful? It's not.
I'm not wearing a skirt and a dress, so I must be a man. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, Lavender Defender.
I've also experienced, particularly when, as a young person, being told by society in general, by people in particular, that if I felt a certain way about myself, if I felt a certain way about my body or particular things about my body, then it must mean that I was a man. And
no.
I think that's dangerous.
It's a lie.
I was at a wedding recently.
Doesn't matter how you feel about your body. Your body's
I
body.
just met asked me if I was transitioning to male. And that kind of bothered me because it feels like I keep getting asked, and that feels like a kind of pressure. I mean, try and imagine if people were saying to you, are you going on a diet? And then somebody else says, oh, will you be going on a diet? And somebody else says, are you trying to lose weight? I mean, after a while of hearing this, you'll start to feel like, gee, maybe I should be going on a diet because everyone else seems to think so. I mean, it's one thing when it's internal, it's coming from the inside.
No, it's not.
Different when it's feeling like
it's always coming from the outside, because the inside, you already know what you are.
Right.
Sasha, you want to break it down?
For me, it's more of just like, they think that if women are femininity, this is why I have a problem with gender ideology, because you're always equating womanhood to femininity. And all of these things that are negative or degrading qualities that get assigned to us, if we don't embody that, then automatically, well, we must be something else. And all the time we hear people say, well, women aren't a monolith, women aren't a monolith. But what does this do? This establishes it establishes the idea that we're a monolith of sex behaviors given to us, assigned to us by male.
Exactly. It is all about that. It's about the male control and rule.
pressure. And sometimes it's implied, like
I'll eat a burger if you want.
You're chicken, or you're just not realizing that you are male. And I don't appreciate that. It feels very insulting. It feels invalidating of who I am.
I heard
because no respect for butch lesbians on any front. I don't even care what the community is, unless it's a lesbian community, like for reals. There's always some kind of pushback to being a butch. All right, well, let's go over Gallagher.
And like, what's the incentive? What's the incentive for women to quote unquote embody maleness? Like, what is the incentive for women to trick themselves into believing that because they don't behave a certain way, or because they don't look a certain way, or because they don't like certain things, that they have to be males? What's the incentive there? Becoming a lifelong medical patient?
No, you have no option. You can femme out or you can butch out, trune out. That's it.
And it's sad.
There's no androgyny. There's no room for experimenting. There's no just being yourself. Like, none of that. It used to be pride, but now there's no such thing. Okay, I got another video that's about butch to femme.
And welcome to a new video. And thank you to SASHA for sponsoring this video. More on their
SASHA, you sponsored this video. I didn't even know it.
Deal later. Are you a butch?
Right?
Femme? A STEM? Am I a butch, a femme, or a STEM? Stick around to find out. I guess it is pretty obvious. Fabulous. Yeah. Let's start with butch. Butch describes a lesbian who... Wait, no, let's start with lesbian. Yeah, for real. A lesbian is a woman who loves women.
Because the rest of this is going to be training. We love women, yes.
A lesbian is a female homosexual.
But now they're going to throw some non-brainery into this.
There are people who identify as lesbians who don't identify as women, such as some non-binary people.
None of this whole definition is crack. You're female homosexuals. Just be yourself. Yeah.
People who were assigned female at birth. There are also people who identify as lesbian.
No, none of the men. They're not lesbians.
Who were assigned male at birth. As always, this channel is a trans-inclusive space.
Full of shit.
Bullshit. If you disagree, bullshit. I don't understand.
Yeah, this is totally cringe, but this is our last cringe video for today, and then we'll just talk. And, you know, talk to our audience, because our audience is so much better.
People's existence is not a point of debate. I'm afraid your comfort level with other people's identities is...
This is so much brainwashing. It's like, no, if people tell you you're Santa Claus, you're Santa Claus. If I tell you I'm Batman, I'm Batman. Shut the fuck up.
Neither here nor there. So disclaimer, although this is a video in which I'm going to be discussing lesbians, types of lesbians.
You don't know what you're talking about at all, woman.
We're gonna have some fun with it. You know, we're a bit of a jokey community. It is how we are. We like our memes. I will generally be using the pronouns she and her, but that...
They're only women who are lesbians, so they're always she and her.
Doesn't mean that I am excluding those of us who use the pronouns they and them or transmasculine. Special love to those on the more masculine end of our spectrum. We love you. We see you. Now, butch. Butch describes a lesbian who...
This is trans love bombing.
...presents more traditionally masculine than feminine. She might have short hair, dress in men's clothes, and so on. A butch is more clearly set apart than the other end of the gender presentation spectrum, the femme lesbians. These are lesbians who embrace the more traditionally feminine things like makeup, fancy hairdos, dresses, high heels, etc.
This isn't really what butch and femme was ever about.
Butch and femme sub-identities, but that's not all. Hang on. Within these, we also have soft butch, or a butch lesbian who has some traditionally feminine traits, stone butch, or a butch lesbian who is more conventionally masculine than the average butch lesbian, and glamour butch, or a butch lesbian whose gender presentation includes masculine formal wear, such as suiting.
I've never even heard that one. That's some trendy shit.
On the feminine end of the spectrum, we would then got the high femme, which is exactly what it sounds like. Heightened or hyper femininity. If you didn't already know, this is me. Hello there. You may have heard of lipstick lesbians, who are similar to femme and high femme lesbians in their deliberate and joyful femininity. Ultimately, it is up to each individual lesbian to determine which...
No, it's not. These are all terms. What?
What's with the accent? Like, dog, come on.
She's putting it on.
Which identity fits the best, whether it's feminine, high femme, lipstick, or all of the above. Now, following the naming trend set by lipstick lesbian, we have chapstick lesbian. Chapstick lesbians are lesbians whose gender presentation leads a little more towards androgyny. I mean, if you're a woman who's attracted to women at a time where society tells you that only men are attracted to women, well, it really makes you question what man and woman really mean.
You don't even know what the words mean, woman.
If we asked her what it meant right now, she'd be like,
anything you want?
Someone who identifies as one.
Yeah, what's a frog? Somebody who identifies as a frog. What's a house? Somebody who identifies... What the hell? It means nothing. This woman pisses me off too. Oh, this is the queer community, though. This is what you get with woke.
What men's and women's clothing, hair, and style can be. Gender expression comes in all different forms. We have the deliberately...
Butch and femme is not a gender expression. It is lesbian culture.
Masculine or feminine gender presentation of butch and femme lesbians. And we have lesbians who feel like womanhood doesn't quite fit. And we have drag performers. You've probably heard of drag queens, but have you heard of drag king?
Yeah, her accent's totally an act, just like the rest of her.
Here we go.
I mean, there's nothing real about these queerdos.
Through their performances, drag kings question, satirize. One such drag king is Storm Galavay.
Now they're going to turn her out. Watch this.
Who is known for throwing the first punch in the 1969...
At least they gave her credit for that.
Stonewall Uprising. What a king. Clearly who Kylie Jenner named their daughter after. There is some debate about who threw the very first punch because, as you can imagine, things were quite hectic. Now, Storm is a biracial drag king who performed in the very first racially integrated drag review.
But they have to make it about race. But whatever, she does get the credit for Stonewall. That at least they gave her that.
And
you know, it's different because they
Have a
usually
quick break.
credit that guy Marsha P. Johnson or something.
The what?
They usually credit that guy Marsha P. Johnson. I don't remember what.
This is amazing that they gave her some credit in this.
Yeah, because usually they don't. They don't even acknowledge her.
Right. So that's the one thing that this video did right.
To say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, SASHA. Now,
Sasha,
I don't believe in the phrase.
You would never sponsor this crap.
Never will.
I would never.
Time to educate, learn, and grow. So, if you haven't heard about SASHA and their fantastic app and
No, it's Surfshark.
let me tell you
Yeah.
all about it. Surfshark's like magic. It allows you to change your virtual location to almost any
No.
country in the world, granting you special access to sites, services, and
I'm doing her commercial in her. No.
Redoing it because it wasn't working on her laptop. She kept adding additional baggage.
I think it's more bullshit.
Every time you rejoin, you really want these tickets.
Sasha, you're paying for like premium and you have a commercial in your videos.
So now
Yeah, it shouldn't be a commercial.
What about STEM?
Oh no. Sponsorships are not commercials. Sponsorships are still like if it's in the video, then it's still gonna show up.
Oh, yeah. It's a tricky way to get it to everybody, even people paying premium. You still have to hear these idiots try to sell you something. She's definitely one of those influencers, which is why she talks all this churn crap.
Which can actually be spelled two different ways and is not related to science. I'll be honest,
There's no science behind anything you're saying, woman.
do forget what that stands for.
Oh,
Refers to a lesbian who falls somewhere between femininity and masculinity. Specifically, though, a Black or Latina lesbian who falls somewhere between femininity and masculinity.
Not stud, dude. STEM? I don't remember that. Oh, that's like butch. Yeah. That's actually a thing.
Masculinity. Now, the word STEM is a combination of stud and femme. A stud lesbian is a lesbian who's traditionally masculine, and like STEM, this is a term reserved for the Black and Latinx communities. But why does stud and STEM only describe Black and Latinx lesbians?
No Latinx. Shut the fuck up. Like, really? You're this fake English woman. Don't tell us Latins how, how to fucking Latinas how to fucking talk. It's fucking ridiculous.
Well, it should come as no surprise that historically queer communities in the Western world have been predominantly white, and not necessarily that the people who are LGBTQ+.
This is why they highlighted Stormy, because they're trying to turn this all into a matter of racism, okay? That's the only reason.
Have been making up those numbers. But the ones who have been willing to write it down on a census have been also the ones making up the names. As a result, many of the identities we've discussed so far reflect white experiences. There are people of color.
No. Lesbian experiences are written by lesbians. And drop all these other letters. I mean, Sasha, you got something to add about that?
No, that's nonsense. Like that doesn't even deserve to be acknowledged. It's not even accurate.
No, of course not.
Who identify with femme, butch, and other terms we've discussed, and there are also people who prefer terms like stud, STEM, and other terms which were created by communities of color to affirm their unique cultural and queer experiences. Same gender loving
had nothing to do with queer experiences at all.
Also abbreviated as SGL is another community-specific term which was created as.
Oh no, I've never heard this one. This is a new one, Sasha.
This is SGL is a Black one. That was like the neo woke type.
Really? I've never heard that one. That is
like
so ridiculous.
Hyper BL super wokes. Yeah. That's the super wokes.
The opposite of being homosexual is SGL. Don't even put the L in there or the G. Or the same, because you're not. You're straight.
For the word gay and lesbian. Same gender loving was coined in the early 1990s as an Afrocentric, culturally affirming identity for African.
The most woke word that ever existed. I mean, acronym. This is horrible.
American and members of the African diaspora. Historical terms. Now, okay, Okay, yeah, sure. The 1990s might sound
I did this.
but it's important to remember that while the specific modern terms we use today might be relatively new, queer experiences and queer people have been around forever.
None of this. Queer is not a thing. It has not been around. It was just invented and forced onto everybody.
I mean, sapphic, the umbrella term for women and feminine people who love each other.
No. It was for, lesbian and bisexuals.
See what I said?
Mm-hmm.
See what I said? There goes that equation again. Women and feminine people.
I know.
Why does womanhood always have to have some proximity to femininity? Why?
None of that. And then being a lesbian, being attracted to women has nothing to do with that. It was like, as long as you're a woman attracted to women, like, female homosexuals should be in that way. God. She's so annoying. I don't even know where I was. She's that kind of... I don't even think we could stomach more of this. Anyway, we're just going to continue to talk to the crowd. Because I can't handle any more of this.
Yeah, let's move on to something else, dog. That this lady is crazy. And then the things that she's saying are inaccurate.
This is like the new level of woke that I cannot even tolerate. I thought Ariel was bad.
Yo, we should do like, there should be like 4 of us and we just do a woke compilation and see who could last the longest.
Like a vomit bag.
Yeah.
We should make a drinking game out of it. Well, Sasha, are you ready to keep going, or?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Just you and me. Like, look, I'm gonna take off this cringe.
Yeah, take off the cringe.
Okay. I'm gonna show your face again.
I can't, but give me like 3 more minutes.
Okay, give me 3 minutes. I'm just gonna talk to her in studio.
No, we can still talk. I just gotta take care of this nosebleed.
Hi, Lavender. Hi, Lesbian Defender. Hi, Tucson. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Patty. Hi, everyone. I'm so sorry that today has been torturous and that this whole call-in shit didn't work out because technical difficulties. There's just too much feedback. I will figure it out because we need a lesbian call-in show. But it's a lot more than I thought.
We do, and the only reason my camera's off is because I'm having a weird ass nosebleed, and
woman.
I don't want your, because YouTube is very anti-blood, so like if they see anything, they're gonna knock us off the live.
Okay, yeah. So you can show off your fallow on freaking YouTube, but you can't show off your nose can bleed and that's cover your eyes.
Yeah, no blood, but definitely a phallus and phallic objects and things of that nature. Yeah, sure.
I'm very happy that the lesbian crowd that showed up and for all the straights that are supporting us. You're welcome too. But we're trying to rebuild our lesbian community. There is a conversation every Monday or Tuesday on Twitter Spaces hosted by Amanda and me and Sasha. We're always there. So catch us. It's always around 8 or 9 o'clock on Twitter. Then we also have our weekly live, me and Sasha are gonna go and recruit lesbians and find real life things to do to build our community. We have to go on.
Right.
Hello.
Real life activism.
Online. We gotta make it happen. Turf lesbians have to have our own events.
We do, and we're planning a lot of big stuff, a lot of big events. And I'm excited because I know that there's going to be some real radical behaviors. I'm not going to say too much, but there's going to be some real radical activities taking place. I can say that.
Here's a picture that me and Sasha took at the food truck. Everyone loves it.
Oh my God. They were mad at that one. The ladies loved it, but the TRAs, they hated it.
They hate anything it represents what lesbians are actually into.
I was swatting them like flies all over Instagram for 12 hours.
No, I worship the V and anything that promotes, lesbians do the lesbian thing.
They were like, it's a turf, it's a turf, it's a turf. And I was like, yeah, it's a turf.
Of course it's a turf. We're not gonna lie. We know what we like, and that's no neo badge there, you know? It had no weird smell.
I can, yes. No rot pockets.
No rot pockets for us.
But no, I
you can have all the rot pockets herself.
I have
send them all your way.
I have a pretty easy time finding turfs in real life, but also I'm in Florida, so
right?
Florida.
I used to drive over here, and there's like hundreds and thousands. You know,
they're literally everywhere.
They're just hiding. You know,
Den's trenches stink ditch.
You don't smile on her face like that.
I'm surprised nobody put axe wound yet.
No Gina. Yeah, exactly.
Gina.
You guys are like rocking it. We need to do a turf dictionary for real. And that's definitely
actually you're gonna love me, V, because I'm working on one right now.
Well, then you gotta add this. No Gina.
Listen, you need to, like, when you have a day that's free, come, you know where to go.
You know, we're hanging every Tuesday from now on. Working on our
Tuesday, your ass need to be, we're
going back to Old Town and tagging it. Well, we would never do anything illegal. Sorry, we're not doing that. We're stickering.
No, we're going to church. We're going to church. We're going to church. we're going to church, y'all, on Tuesday.
We're gonna declare it Turf Town.
We're going to Church of Turf. We're going to pray.
We worship the V, definitely in this channel. And that's how we get them out of our spaces. We just tell them it's a place to worship the V. I mean, all these cocksuckers and you know, cockhavers will hate it. They will not even want to be there.
Most of them just straight despise female anatomy. So if you say anything that has anything to do with female anatomy, they're going to be disgusted.
But they still want to put their dicks in it. I mean, like,
they do 100%, and that's why they hate us so much.
They ain't us.
Women, yuck, gross, yucky. We hate you. Okay. You will not, like, if you were around the time that, like, I was just first being peaked, I was seeing so many. I was seeing so many incel to Troon pipeline type shit that it was like.
They did this on purpose. I know that there's administrators that actually went to their fucking forums and they said, hey, we're going to create some little, you know, trans out of our groups by telling them that they could have be their own girlfriends. This is actually a thing that was planned. And idiots fell for it. Because they're so concentrated on their left hand and their fantasies about lesbians that they think they could be one of us. But they're never going to get a lesbian, and these are male market failures that can't even get pussy to begin with. Yeah, it's their problem, not ours. They just need to be out of our spaces. It's like, sorry that heterosexual and bisexual women reject you, but we're going to reject you too. What do you think?
And it's crazy to me because it's like, all right, listen.
They won't even date each other, so they're going to forever be incels.
Y'all want to deal with real biological women. Y'all want real biological women, but then you want to say, so y'all are turfs too. You don't even want to deal with yourselves.
Everybody's a turf in the sheets. Let's just be real. Nobody wants something that they're not into. I mean, unless you're like an extreme true fetishist that is just okay with like licking vomit, you know, type level of like, I'll put my face in a rock pocket. Who's really into this?
Like they will go on dating apps just to match with women. meanwhile, they're like, if your preferences are discriminatory, your preference are discriminatory. And it's like, what preference? You mean my orientation? I remember back when saying someone's sexual orientation was a preference was considered homophobic. Straight like that. Like, we used to acknowledge that, like, sexuality cannot be changed.
There's only 3: straight, gay, and bi.
And so I'm sitting here like, yes, and I just got reinstated on TikTok. Let's go.
What's going on TikTok?
Someone tried to get me banned, and so I sent the thing into TikTok, and now they're like, oh shit, there was no violation. Here's your fucking account back.
Okay. Keep turfing on TikTok.
You turf talk, period.
Man, triggering truths is my favorite thing. So, I gotta make a TikTok sooner or later.
I know they're gonna be mad as hell when they see me on SASHA Graham live on TikTok.
Yes.
They was mad the first time, and they're gonna be mad again.
I think my turf vest has hit like near 6 million at this point, and you keep commenting on it. Like, it keeps it going.
It does.
We both our vests. I mean, your jacket, my vest. It was definitely.
Yo, your vest. They were so mad. I can't.
Yeah.
I want to get popular enough where when I retweet your vest, a bunch of like turfs descend on it to show support, and then just start.
There's a lot of turfs, showing me support on my vest. It's still there on my profile.
Like, I want to be able to make it go viral. I want it to go viral. Like, I want it to have like 10,000 or 100,000 likes, and like people just.
I'm already at millions. Well, no, I don't know how many likes. The likes are not a big number.
No, but yeah, because like I want them to be sitting there like, listen, I want to have this be viral, and then they're all like, oh my god, this is so cool. Oh my god, come to our show. Oh my god, you look so great. Yes.
We're doing a band too. Like, I'm gonna be a drummer. SASHA's gonna teach me to drum.
Dilate. Oh, you guys, me and V are gonna start a turf band.
Yep. We're really gonna be the turf's new punk, in the real life. Because these UK true transers, they're not punk. And they're not even
punk is not like misogyny and punk do not go hand in hand, because what is Riot Girl? Riot Girl wouldn't support gender ideology.
No, and then capitalism. I mean, gender ideology is just capitalism gone crazy. That's not what punk is. Punk is be yourself and like fuck the system. This is the system.
Like fuck the system. We don't deal with this shit. I want a chicken sandwich, V, but I don't feel like going up to go get it.
I'll deliver it to you. You don't live that far from me.
Somebody mail me a goddamn chicken sandwich.
There's apps today. I could actually do it. I have your address. Damn.
Oh my god.
You begging for chicken sandwiches? Shit.
I don't know why I woke up.
I want some tacos, but
Yo, but I want some real tacos like off a taco truck, dog.
Yeah. Well, next time we're over there in Old Town.
Like, shit.
But it is 45 minutes away. Everything in my neighborhood is 45 minutes away.
That's true. That's why I like Miami, because you could just walk outside and go get. But see, we don't have taco trucks. Like, you got to go all the way to fucking Newport or Homestead.
Or Hialeah. Hialeah will have some.
Hialeah do not have no food trucks. They got them restaurants where you get 2 tacos for $30, and I got it like that. I got it, but I ain't got it like that.
There is a place, I forgot where it was, but it is definitely Lauderdale. They definitely have food trucks.
Lauderdale got net, but them tacos is nasty. They putting sour cream and shit on there. I'm like, ooh.
Yes, free without the sour cream. I love sour cream. Anyway, thank you for making our show. I think we are going on like an hour and 15 minutes now.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of turf cringe. I mean, true cringe. And turf pride. And thank you all for showing up and making this a lesbian space. I will fix the live in the you know, live call-in thing. And
we're gonna get better as we do it more, because this is like real unfamiliar territory for both of us.
We're both starting like spaces for lesbians. Like I said, catch us on Mondays and Tuesdays on Twitter. We will see you in our groups. Thank you so much. Shout out.
Thanks for joining.
Take care.